The end of the year is approaching, and everywhere you go, you see people talking about a new year reset, new year resolutions, how to reinvent yourself in the next year. But do you really need it? My honest answer is no, and here's why. Let's start with the basics. There's just too much pressure. For many of us, the end of the calendar year is associated with a lot of stress. In many places, December 31st is the end of the fiscal year, which means a lot of projects have to be finished at once. It's also the time of exams or sometimes even finals in universities. It's the time when we need to shop for Christmas presents and Christmas decorations for our apartments. There might be even some bureaucratic chores involved, like the need to update your tax card. All in all, while we might feel inclined towards reflection in autumn, especially the later half, the turmoil and nature of December simply doesn't allow for any time to complete this reflection and bring a vision into place. It's not uncommon for people to get burnout symptoms around Christmas holidays simply because they were trying to tick off every item of their end of the year list. The good news is that you don't have to succumb to the New Year reset fever. If reviewing your goals feels like another chore on your agenda, ditch it. I never review my goals at the end or beginning of the year, and I can guarantee you your future success will survive it. Instead, focus on introducing support systems into your routine. And what I mean here is simply finding ways to relax. Maybe it's getting a nice massage. Maybe, if you're low on a budget, it's getting a self massage. This year, I've been buying out different self massage tools like a foam roller or a massage ball, and it's probably one of the best and definitely most cost effective investments in my entire life. Or maybe it's dedicating 1 or 2 full days to do whatever you feel like doing. If you've never rested properly,
Lift your hand if you think that resting has to be productive.
then Christmas holidays might be a perfect time to reconnect with yourself and discover what makes you feel energized. Use this opportunity to build systems that will help you stay balanced throughout the year instead of focusing on New Year resolutions. Next, change becomes a commodified product. For many, starting a new life from the January 1st is a very pleasant thought. A lot of us put a lot of time, energy, and money into developing all the structure for a new and better life. The sad reality is that 23% of people quit their New Year resolutions by the first week of January, and 43% by the end of January. This percentage only keeps declining throughout the year. That means that people don't view change as a long and usually painful process, but rather as a product that can be consumed once a year and change everything miraculously overnight. New Year resets sell us a false idea that change is a one-time thing that can happen like this if we consume enough content. The truth is, change is available to us at any given moment, regardless of the calendar date or day of the week, but it does require a lot of work from us. So instead of waiting for a perfect time, I suggest you build supporting habits like discipline or consistency. If you are looking for ways to build discipline but don't know where to start, I have created a video on the topic. I'm gonna link it right here and down below, so feel free to check it out. The second to the last. Setting up unrealistic expectations leads to failure. How many items are on your New Year resolutions list? Are there 30? 50? Maybe 100? I once stumbled upon a suggestion to make a resolution for each day of the calendar year. One of the biggest issues with New Year resolutions is that people put a lot of items that should rather be on a bucket list and try to achieve all of them in one year. What happens next? Failure and frustration. Failure because achieving all of these things is humanly impossible, unless you're Mark Zuckerberg. But everyone knows that he's not human, so I guess we're fine here. We are conservative creatures. Not necessarily in a political sense, but in a sense that we need to conserve our energy. We have a very limited ability to focus, we need a lot of rest, and we usually can only improve so much at a time. Frustration because despite all these biological facts, we keep pushing ourselves, and if we're nowhere near to become hyperachievers, we blame ourselves for it. Instead, try to focus on one goal at a time, three tops. But if your previous relationships with discipline and consistency were toxic, meaning you ghosted them, then it's better to focus on one over a prolonged period of time. Once you get comfortable with showing up for yourself, then you can add another one on top of that. But in that case, make sure to schedule enough time for rest. Finally, and that might sound radical, but not everyone needs to better themselves, or the change can be minimal. I know we are sold on the idea of a constant improvement. We're always told things like, there is always room for improvement, if there is no evolution, there is stagnation. However, we really don't have to do that. Recognizing when you are in a good place mentally, physically, spiritually, financially is an important piece of the puzzle. While it is partially in our culture and partially in our human nature to always strive for better, being satisfied with what we have is the lifeblood of happiness. Instead of chasing goals that you don't need to chase, make space for reflection and gratitude practices. It can take a form of a meditation, journaling, or, just patting yourself on the shoulder. It's very important to recognize your personal achievements and the role others have played in your life over the course of the past year. To conclude, you really don't need a New Year reset in order to be productive and achieve things in your life. However, if that type of content gives you inspiration to move forward, please be my guest. After all, I'm just a person on the internet sharing their unsolicited advice. And with that, I wish you a happy day and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.